Welcome everyone. Today I will be presenting our web chat application. Before we dive into the details, let's start with a brief overview of what our web chat application offers. Our web chat application is a modern communication tool built using React and React Router. It enables users to have a real-time conversation, search for a specific conversation, create new conversation, and exchange message effortlessly. So now coming to the main thing of this code, that is the coding part of this. We have the following main directories: components, data styles, and app.js, index.js. So components. This directory contains reusable components used throughout the application. Second is data. Here we have stored dummy data used to simulate conversations and contacts. Third is styles. The directory holds the CSS styles for our component. And app.js. This is the entry point of our application where the main logic resides. And index.js. This file is responsible for rendering the React application. Now, first we have to I will give you overview of the app.js. Now let's take a closer look at the app.js. We start by importing the necessary modules and components such as React, whose use state, use effect, and our custom components like sidebar, conversation list, conversation pop-up, and alert. Next, we define the main app component using the functional component syntax. The following state variable using the use state hook. First is conversations. This state variable holds an array of conversations retrieved from the dummy data. Is so pop-up. These variables control whether the pop-up for creating a conversation should be displayed or not. Is selected contact. These variables store the ID of the currently selected contact for a conversation. Fifth is search query. These variables holds the search query entered by the users to filter conversations. Fifth is alert. These variables represent the message displayed in the alert component. Come to the fetching dummy data. To simulate loading data, we use the use effect hook to fetch conversations from the dummy data file. Inside the use effect hook, we set the conversation state using the set conversations function and pass in the data obtained from the dummy data file. Now come to the handling search part. We provided a search input field to allow users to search for a specific conversation. The handle search function is called whenever the value in the search input is from the creating a conversation. When the user click the create conversation button in the sidebar, we use the show pop-up state to true. This triggers the display of the pop-up component, which allows users to select a contact to start a conversation with. The selected contact's information is then passed to the handle contact selection function. Handling contact selection. Now come to the next part, that is handle contact selection. The handle contact selection function is called when a contact is selected is in the pop-up component. It checks if an existing conversation with the selected contacts already exists. If it does, the existing conversation is opened by setting the selected contact state to the corresponding contact ID. If not, a new conversation is started by creating a new conversation object and adding it to the conversation state array. Next is sending message. This when the user sends a message in a conversation, the handle send message function is called. It first checks if the message is not empty. If it's empty, an alert is displayed with the alert. If the message is not empty, it updates the conversation last message and message array updates the conversation state accordingly. Next is rendering components. In the JSX code, we render the main components such as sidebars, conversation list, and conversations. Use the route components from the React Router DOM to handle the routing of different components based on the URL path. The sidebar component displays the sidebar with the conversations link and create conversation list display component display the list of conversations based on the search query and allow users to search for a specific conversation component renders the conversation based on the selected contact's ID or the ID passed through the URL. The pop-up component is conditionally rendered when the pop-up is true, allowing users to select contact to start a conversation. The alert component is conditionally rendered when an alert message is set, providing feedback to the uh, user.